So, a topic came up earlier today. I'm not going live on Facebook with this one. I'm just going to keep this one to Instagram and probably upload it to YouTube. Yeah. So, a topic came up earlier that got me thinking, and it's another topic that I'm pretty passionate about. And I'm not going to drag this out to an hour and a half or any of that kind of shit. I know I tend to do that, but I don't have any intention of doing that tonight. People do not seem to want to ask or investigate as to why somebody does what they do. Like, you know, from their early life. People have habits, make choices, do weird things. Like some people will do weird shit in the house, like with their stuff or whatever, or keep things in certain places or something weird like that. And you can say, why do you do that? Oh, well, my mom used to do that. Well, I don't know, my grandmother used to do that. Okay. Doesn't tell me why you do it, though. Why are you doing that? What's the connection? What's the need for that? You see what I mean? Just shit like that. There's so many things that are learned that people don't realize they've learned, and like no one investigates. So when people do things like make bad choices, put themselves around the wrong kind of people, you know, no one asks, well, why are they doing that? They just say, oh, well, you're stupid. Why don't you make better choices? Why are you putting yourself around such bad people? What's wrong with you? You're stupid. And that's not the case. And of course, typically, you know, I focus on women and our problems and our struggles and the things that we are misunderstood on. So earlier today, somebody said something that really turned me off, because it's the same shit I've heard all my life. And it's the same shit a lot of us have heard all our lives, which is that it's the girl's fault that she has awful boyfriends. And there's a lot more psychology to it than that, than just saying, well, she's just a dumb bitch who doesn't know what's the good that's right in front of her, so she's picked an asshole because she's stupid, end of story. And that's not necessarily how that works. That's not how that works. People don't realize that your parents, the impact that your parents or whoever your damn caregiver was when you were growing up has on the way you do things for the rest of your life. People do not realize the impact that has. The things that you learn and the things that you accept as normal growing up. I've been around people that had all kinds of weird habits and almost like paranoid type shit because they grew up around people who did the same paranoid type shit. And you can say, well, why are you doing this? Why do you have that habit? Like, what is that doing for you? What are you worried about? Why are you so paranoid? What are you worried about? What's the issue? Oh, well, you know, well, it's just something my mom used to do. Okay, but that's not telling me why you do it. You learned it from her. but that's you don't seem to know anything beyond that. And you have to really, if you really want to understand somebody, the good and the bad, quote unquote bad, it helps to ask a lot of questions, or ask the right questions about their early life, and try to figure out why they do the shit they do. So, for example, I'm a women's life coach, so I focus on the shit we do. And what turns me off is when girls pick bad boyfriends and the people around them, men and other women, who are just as out of touch with themselves as they are with each other. But you'll have men, especially, and other women who will say, well, what's wrong with you? Why are you picking such dumbasses? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? You're so stupid. You're so dumb. Blah, blah, blah. And then it's like the conversation just kind of ends there. And they'll say this shit to their own children, to their own teenage daughters. What's wrong with you? What do you mean what's wrong with you? You know, because the damn parent or the caretaker teaches them to be the way they are. That's they either learn the habits or the child is doing shit as a reaction to the shit that went on in childhood from the caretaker. It's a reaction. or it could be a protective mechanism. But either way, it's something that is happening because of the people that taught them when they were being raised, period. So you've got girls, you've got teenage girls and like young women, and some middle-aged women who haven't learned, you know, because we can't all be fucking gurus. And I'm certainly not, but I learn shit about myself all the time. But, you know, we've got so many young women who pick shitty-ass men and shitty-ass boyfriends, and everybody just kind of rolls their eyes and says she's dumb and she doesn't know what she's... And she'll have the one nice friend, the male friend that listens to all her problems, but that's it, you know. Well, the reason she's not coming to him for two different reasons. One is the nice guy is usually so nice, he doesn't have any damn initiative, and he doesn't have any damn presence about him. If he doesn't have a strong presence, a strong protective leadership type presence, the feminine is not going to unfold into him because he has no containment. He has no containment, period. If he can't create the safe space energetically for her to unravel, then she's not going to do it. She's not going to. Her guard is going to be up, period. Period. That's it. And with him being too nice, you know, she isn't if she's got nothing but awful boyfriends, and then she's got the one real friendly male friend who's always good to her, she's not used to that. That's not what is normal to her. To her, that's not normal, and that's not part of anything that she should ever have. That's why she doesn't take him, since no one's thought to ask. But the issue, the underlying issue that no one thinks enough of us to fucking investigate, is that the dynamic that we have with our fathers, present or absent, the dynamic and the issue with them and the wounded masculine that gets implanted in is the number one foundation problem that you're dealing with. And that's going to be either his ass wasn't there, so she knows abandonment from the masculine. That's all she knows is abandonment. Or if he was there, let's say if he was a problem, like if he was violent or if he was manipulative or if he was distant, you know, emotionally distant or not involved or whatever his issue was that trickled down into her. And she's going to carry that forever until it gets resolved. Which is why she as a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old saw shitty ass behavior from this, you know, big bad man that didn't know what the fuck he was doing. And she's going to take that as a 5-year-old and say, okay, well, this is how this is. Because that's what the fuck I did. My ass did that. That's why I say in my video, if you'll watch it, I know it's long, but if you grew up in domestic violence, I ask you to watch that video. That's all I can say. I ask you to watch it. It's like almost 2 hours. And take breaks. If you want. It's on YouTube as well. All my lives I try to upload to my YouTube, so you can find it there as well. But I really talked a lot and I really said a lot. And I said a lot of shit that I've never said before. Which is why I cried towards the end of the video. But whatever behavior she sees as a child from men, she's going to take that and say, well, this is how they are. Because, like I say, in that video I did, I saw how my dad was, and I went to one friend's house one time. This was all it took to to shake my foundation. This was all it took. It was one fucking afternoon at a friend's house. And like I say in that video, we sat at her kitchen table and we're just chilling. And her mom was in there like doing dishes or some shit after school. And I'd gotten off the bus at her bus stop. I don't know how it worked, but it was like a one-time thing. And my mom came to come get me. I never got to do that. But anyway, it was at her house. It's like 4 in the afternoon. We're sitting at the kitchen table just kind of fucking around. And her dad comes in from work. And he was real happy-go-lucky and playful and happy and goofy and silly and happy and happy and happy. And it fucked with me real bad. I was confused as a motherfucker because I'd never fucking seen that before. Because my dad came in cussing and yelling every fucking day. Or didn't want to talk. And to me, That was normal because that was all I had fucking seen. So that was normal. And I went to my fucking friend's house and I saw her dad, and my world just like came apart at the seams. Now I get it, how the Quran says, and God ripped asunder the universe by tearing out the seams, and it went. That's how I felt. My brain just went like a fucking Jiffy Pop, you know, just like exploded. Like a fucking volcano. I couldn't take it. I couldn't handle it because it was so fucking awkward. I didn't know what to do. I had no idea how to process that. He came in, he was like bouncing around and shit and fucking joking and shit and like getting some chocolate milk or some shit and then left. I went to go sit in front of the TV, and he was just the happiest person I had ever fucking seen. And I was like, what in the goddamn fuck is this? It's a fucking Twilight Zone. Like, you know, I was like 10, you know, but I probably was thinking those exact words. But, and we were in Catholic school. So I was sitting there in the Catholic school uniform talking about, you know, or at least thinking, what the fuck? But, Catholic school doesn't work on everybody. So, but I was confused as hell. I mean, period. And he left the kitchen, and I said, hey, is he always like that? She was like, yeah. You know, that was normal for her. That was normal for her. And that was like one of the greatest mind fucks of my life. Was that moment. And I remember like it was last week. I could just close my eyes and I'm there. Confused. You know, I was confused a lot as a child, but that was one of my bigger moments. So what I'm trying to say is, little girls learn what men are like from the father, whether his ass is there or not. And here in the modern world, they're not held accountable for who they squirt out so much. They're not held accountable so much anymore for that, and they just kind of, you know. So because of that, you got all these single mothers, and there's so much abandonment. There's so much abandonment wound, even though maybe he didn't necessarily abandon per se, but just not there as much, you know, which I guess kind of actually is still abandonment. But anyway, you know, whether he's there or not, if he's fucked up and lets that trickle down into that little girl, she's going to carry that on her shoulders and on her heart forever. Until somebody squares it the fuck away. End of. So what I'm trying to tell you is, if anybody will listen, if anybody will understand this, I know women will, but you know, there's probably men listening to me right now that are trying to figure out where I live so they can come and kill me because they get so mad when I point shit out, but it's like I can't help myself. I don't hate y'all. You know, I haven't hated men since maybe the time I finally turned 30. I think that was when I finally gave up hating them. But I don't hate them. It's just that the shit can't go unmentioned any longer. It just can't go unmentioned any longer. So include my stories and shit the stories I've told lately that I've held in for, you know, a couple of decades. So I'm real big on saying things that need to be said. And I'm finally I've been doing it for everybody else all this time, and I'm finally doing it for myself. But what I'm trying to make you understand is that when young women pick, and by young I mean under 40, to be honest with you. By young I mean under 45. I'm going to say under 45. Those women who are still dating and still, you know, getting with men and shit, you know, they pick dumbasses because that's all they know. That is all they know. If they grew up with a shitty ass father, if you can get that information, it'll put it in perspective. And if you ask her questions and she doesn't want to talk about him, that can put it in perspective. You didn't get any info, but her reaction should tell the whole story. So, you know, no one wants to look at that. No one wants to fucking look at that. All they want to do is run around, you know, and with their fucking friends in circles, repeating the same shit to each other about how dumb women are. Oh, we're so dumb. We're so fucking stupid. You know, we don't know good when it's right in front of us. Well, half the time we don't know good when it's right in front of us because we've never goddamn seen it. Men don't even hold each other accountable anymore, and they sure as fuck don't listen to us when we try to. They don't even hold each other accountable anymore. They don't correct each other anymore. You know, a long time ago, men used to get together and go to one of them's house who was fucking around, you know, and just like fucking things up, and they would beat the hell out of him and tell him not to fuck up anymore. And that was community. That was community shit, and it used to happen. So for them to, the fact that men have quit correcting each other, society has just taken a fucking nosedive. A fucking nosedive. And because they just kind of shrug and say, oh, well, fuck it, you know, it's free world, let him do what he wants. And yeah, but he's hurting society. The fact that we've quit keeping each other in line, all of us, it's hurting us as a group. I hate to sound communist, you know, at the risk of sounding communist, I do believe in the good of the group. But I mean, like, I'm not communist, but when I'm you know, like they just don't correct each other anymore, and they don't stop each other when one of them sees another one doing the wrong thing. They don't say anything. They just let it go. And all I can think is, what is wrong with this world? I don't even know what to, because I have so many different thoughts running through my head at the same time. I can't pick one. But, you know, they don't do that anymore. They don't keep each other in line anymore. And society's just like falling apart. That's one of the reasons, you know, but another reason is that women have quit caring, you know, or a lot of them have quit. They don't trust, but we can't because the space isn't there, and we've had to be men since the 70s. So, you know, everything's real backwards right now. But like I say, you know, what I'm trying to say is that women who grow up with either shitty fathers or absent fathers will pick shitty ass boyfriends. They'll pick boyfriends who either ignore them, abandon them, or hit them, or just like use mental abuse, you know, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, whatever. There's a million ways to abuse somebody, right? And they'll fucking do it, and it's real fucking common. And there's just as many women, unfortunately, who are clueless about this as there are men who do this shit to us. And they just meet up, and it's like, you know, and the assholes like it because they're getting somebody who goes along with all their shit, all their shitty ass behavior. So it's like they're perfect for each other until the woman snaps out of it and realizes her worth. And when's that gonna be? Who knows? Because we're sure as fuck not taught. People think this is a joke, but I'm telling you, when girls hit the age of 12, their self-esteem for what it might have been worth up until then just fucking plummets. Just plummets. It fucking plummets. Oh, your tits aren't big enough? Oh, fuck you. Oh, you're not blonde enough? Oh, fuck you. So you can imagine what kind of time I had. I was a second-class citizen, bro. I've been a second-class citizen. No one fucking liked me. I was not in vogue at all. Probably still not. And now I don't fucking care. At the time I did. I don't give a shit now. Because I can make money and live my life whether a man thinks I'm great or not. So once I realized I could survive without their approval, I didn't fucking care. I didn't fucking care. But it took a long time to get to that point where I realized I could survive and still get food and still live and still have necessities and still be able to take care of my child and shit like that without a man standing there saying, yeah, I'll allow it. You know, once I got that clarity, I was like, oh, hell, I'm going to be fine. So far I am. So it's not, you know, we're really taught some backwards ass shit about survival and what that's like and what that entails and you know, what you have to do to get there. And women who are shown bad behavior by their fathers are going to pick asshole ass men. Point blank. That's it. They're just going to. That's all they know. That has been programmed for them to think that's normal. That the shitty ass behavior is just how it is. And that's just the world. When I was little and my dad came home pissed off all the time, I just figured all men were angry. I didn't know anybody else. I didn't know any other 40-year-old men. Who, you know, I wasn't around anybody else. And then on the occasion I did get around other men who didn't act that way, I was confused and very unsure of the situation. Very unsure of it. Very, you know, okay, what the fuck is this about? You know, like, just because it didn't make any goddamn sense. It does now. But the reason I'm so passionate about it is because this is such a worldwide fucking phenomenon, you know, quote-unquote phenomenon, meaning, you know, something we'll never understand. We could understand it if we wanted to. If we wanted to investigate, we could understand anything. But people fucking take shit at face value and be like, oh, well, whatever, it's this. And, you know, and they don't want to look into anything, and then they wonder why they don't get something, and then they laugh at it because they don't really understand it, and they just try to laugh it off, you know. And it's just really like, it just snowballs into bullshit. And, you know, people are still, other women are still laughing at women sometimes. You've got other women who try to shut down women. You know, oh, that bitch, you know, she thinks she's going to compete with me, and we'll see about that, you know. We'll see who's going to get his attention, blah, 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 you know, and just shit like that. It's fucking heinous the way they're at each other's throats over who's going to be popular, who's going to be whatever it is that they fucking argue. I don't even know, because I was never that type. I was always kind of quiet, especially in high school. I was quiet. I kept my head down. I didn't have any fucking friends. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't do anything. I wasn't involved in anything. I wasn't in any clubs. I didn't go anywhere. I would go home and just go to my room and read books all night long and try to make myself sleep for a couple hours before I had to get up in the morning and go back to fucking school. And that was all I fucking did. I also did belly dance and yoga, but I did that in the house. Like, I didn't go anywhere. And, I didn't have any friends. I didn't know anybody. And I would find out that there'd be some girl somewhere that I had never seen before who would absolutely hate my guts. And there would always be some girl who just, like, hated the blood that flowed in my veins. Just fucking hated me. And that would confuse the shit out of me, because I couldn't understand where the hell it was coming from. Well, why? Why? Well, I've never even seen you before. When have we met? When have we interacted? What have I ever said about you? I have no idea who the fuck you are. You know what I mean? So they're at each other's throats, which is wounded feminine, by the way. The gossiping and the competition and shit like that. Well, that bitch thinks she's gonna blah, blah, blah. I don't fucking think so. You know, that's not the feminine not knowing what it's doing. That's what that is. And there's a lot of that. So they're unstable in both realms. They've got wounded masculine because they can't trust men for whatever reason, and then they've got wounded feminine because their mothers fucked them up, so they don't trust women either. So it's like that women have no one to trust. That's why they're so fucking fake. No one asks about this. No one fucking ever wants to investigate this shit. I don't understand why. So that needs to be looked at. You know, that needs to be looked at and discussed and, you know, dissected, because until we do that, until we dissect it and really fucking look at it and put some shit into perspective and get some backstory on some shit, we're still going to be sitting here doing to each other what men do to us, which is run in circles with their fucking friends, repeating the same shit. Oh, she's just dumb, she's just dumb, she's just dumb, women are dumb, women are dumb. You know, without ever fucking getting any damn real information. People think they're so goddamn smart. You know, they think they're so damn enlightened, but they won't fucking look into something. How smart can you be if you don't have an inquiring mind? You just take it as face value, you know, at 35 years old, which you cannot afford to do. You need to be able to look into stuff and investigate things and get the story behind shit so you don't make dumbass decisions. You need to know things and be informed. Would you not want to be informed about other shit? What about buying a car? Don't you want to be informed about that? Yeah, I bet you do. Yeah, now it's important. But when we're talking about a human fucking being with a heart and a spirit and a soul and a mind, and you've got the wheelbarrow balls, man or woman, you got the big fat dragging the ground balls to sit there and say, oh, well, this is just blah, 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 and that's it. And you just kind of like leave the scene, you know, like that ain't it. That ain't it. That's a human being. You don't want to get the backstory on some of that shit? You don't want to get the explanation? You don't want to find out what happened in 1990 that fucked all that up for that little girl? How do you know? What if that was your kid? Because if it was your kid, all of a sudden now it's different. No, it would be different if it was your kid. It would. So it pisses me off and it irks me when people don't want to find out why somebody does what the fuck they do. It's aggravating. I care about people and I care about why they do shit, aggravating or not. You know, some people piss me off. And then I have to like tell myself, nah, they're acting this way because something's wrong. I may not know what it is, I may never find out. But they're doing this because something's wrong. And they've been taught something, or they're carrying something that I don't know anything about, that's weighing on their mind. And I need to just take a deep breath and not let it ruin my show, ruin my life, you know, like, but at the same time, the fact that people don't care enough to consider what somebody else might have gone through to make them do that. I just like that blows me away that people they don't give a shit. So, I mean, when she picks shitty ass boyfriends, especially boyfriends that hit her or boyfriends that, just neglect her or argue with her, you know, and especially in my case, you know, me and Dad bumped heads just about up until he died. You know, we had, you know, yelling matches, and that never went away. And I had problems with authority, quote unquote, authority figures all these years. I've bumped heads with people who try to micromanage me. So-called authority figures in my life people who were there to set me straight and get me on the right path and make me do as I was told and teach me how to listen and to not be a pain in the ass and to not, you know, be so individual and blah, blah. And the sad part is, if I look back and like think about how I was when I was 5 or 10 or 14, I was not a bad child that just like, you know, made my parents' life hell. I was a depressed child, but I didn't act up. It's not the same. I didn't act up as a teenager either. And I wasn't dating or going out with boys all the time either, you know, disappearing. Because that was before they could call us and find out where the hell we were. But, you know, I didn't do those. I wasn't a bad kid. I wasn't. I'm not a bad kid now. But I wasn't a bad kid. And I didn't have the confidence to be a bad kid. I didn't have the confidence to show my ass. Just didn't. I didn't do it. And as I got older, and I bumped heads a lot with people who were over me. You know, people who were over me and people who were there to tell me whose job it was to tell me what to do. Dad, managers, boyfriends, my sergeants in the Army, everybody who was there to dominate me, whose job it was to dominate me. I yelled back. I yelled back. So Dad and I had our yelling matches. I did the breaking up. I broke up with boyfriends, and my army sergeants didn't like me because they'd yell in my face, and I wasn't afraid of them because I was used to that, because I'd grown up that way. I had grown up with a man yelling in my face. Except that one struck me. The army sergeants aren't allowed to hit anymore. They are no longer allowed to hit privates. I don't know when that started, probably about 20 years ago, but by the time I got there, everybody knew they weren't allowed to touch us. And there was one woman who did. She struck a trainee and like got demoted or some shit. But because of my upbringing, I was well accustomed to yelling with men, or a man, and having screaming matches, and like I say, I had two options, and one of them was to cower in the corner and shake like a chihuahua, or to buck up and stick my chest out and just see who's gonna go down first, because I just that was it. I could either be a coward, or I can just say, well, okay, see what you got, and then, which is stupid. That's stupid, but that was my only options, because of what the masculine was showing me that it does. This is what it means to be a goddamn man. You're gonna fucking know it. You pop, and you're just seeing stars, and that, once you get that programmed in, and you don't know anything else, and you're never exposed to anything different from that, that really shapes you. And especially as a little girl, it shapes you, and it molds you in ways that make you kind of twisted, because you're, in a way, you're not afraid of violence. You still kind of are, because you have the PTSD from it, which I do. You still carry the PTSD from it, so you still get a little bit anxious sometimes when you see them get kind of hostile, but at the same time, you're not afraid. And instead, they get pissed off. They get even more pissed off when you're not afraid. When you just kind of stand there and wait to see if they're really man enough to hit you. That sends them through the roof. And I've had that. I've had that. And those women, especially, like I say, who have issues with authority figures, will have issues with boyfriends too, because they've grown up in a household where the man is there to tell you what to do and nothing less. And God damn it, you better listen, because if you don't, and so she carries that into dating, into the dating world, and she picks that shit over and over again. And that's just how it is. That's just how it goes. And everybody wants to say, oh, well, what's wrong with you? You dumb bitch. How could you pick such an awful boyfriend? How you just pick these, strings of bad boyfriends and blah, blah. But that's not, people don't want to look into the psychology of it and into the background of it and get the answers. But that's why they pick bad boyfriends. It's because their fathers were awful. Just what happens. So, it's just something that happens. But that is a topic that I thought was important enough to touch on tonight, because it's got to be said. And the same goes for men. I don't talk about their issues a lot, because that's not my area of expertise, obviously. But but people aren't as hard on them when they pick shitty girlfriends. Nobody calls them stupid. It's not the same. They pick shitty girlfriends, or they pick women that don't love them, or they pick women that they can't take care of, or they pick women who are more masculine than them and more domineering than they are. And I've had that issue where the real soft kind of pansy-ish men would come after me, or like, you know, just sit in my lap and you know, expect me to hand them the world. I've had that. Sadly, I'm ashamed to admit to it, but I've had that. And what's I'm even more ashamed of is that I went along with it for a while. But and those guys are you know, what you might call these days beta males. They don't have any initiative. They don't have any get up and go. They don't have any drive or motivation to take life by the horns and make something of it and make it work for them and shit like that. And just no motivation whatsoever to pursue something, or like be the best that they can be at something, you know, just none of that. It's not there. No motivation. They can't even do 10 goddamn push-ups, let alone anything else. And they go after women like me who don't, number one, don't want to be fucking bothered, but if we are, we're going to be in control because we don't trust the masculine, because we've had to learn some hard lessons from it. And we both have wounded masculine, but just we manifest in different ways. See what I mean? So, because dudes like that, like what I just described, will tell you that being masculine means that means you have to be an asshole, and that you have to be domineering and shit like that. Because I've been told that too, and that's not what that means either. Being masculine doesn't mean you have to be an asshole. That's not what it is. Assholes just assholes. You know, that's not the same. But because guys like that are confused about what it is because their fathers weren't around to show them what it was, or they didn't do it right. You know, so everybody's dad fuck us up somehow. You know, for the most part. Unless you're my best friend whose house I went to that time, in her kitchen when I was shocked to see her dad and how happy he was. But anyway. So, you know, there's so much behind that. There's so much under that people don't want to look at. And I think it's important. Because dudes like that will pick, like soft dudes like that will pick women who push them around or whatever, and everybody feels sorry for him. Oh, that poor guy, blah, blah, blah. You know, he's just, yeah, he's hasn't had a chance with anyone nice yet. He hasn't found anybody that knows how to take care of him, you know, blah, blah, blah. First of all, if he can't, I mean, look, take care of him, hell. He thinks he's got it all together. There's nothing I can do. But dudes like that, they make shitty choices with women. Everybody just kind of like pats them on the back, says, oh, it's okay, brother, you know, one day to get better, we'll get you somebody. You know, it's totally different. It's handled completely differently. But when I make that choice, my parents looked at me and said, I don't know what your problem is, but, you know, you need to quit picking loser-ass boyfriends because we're getting tired of it. And I was like, and I was just standing there looking like a little Russian model, you know, confused because everybody wanted me and I didn't know what to do about it, and I didn't know how to handle men because I'd never been fucking taught anything. So all the shit that you don't teach your daughter is going to hurt her later. It's going to hurt her bad because she's clueless unless you say something. And, you know, they just let them go and like learn from boyfriends about, you know, what to do. And that's not kosher and it's not fair. So mothers need to sit down with their daughters and teach them everything they know about men just as they're about 14 years old, and how to prepare for, you know, shit like losing your job over not flirting back with your manager and things like that. Because I've lost jobs because I'd had managers flirt with me and I didn't flirt back, and I fucking was kicked out, and I lost at least 2 jobs over it that I can remember. One of them was a really important job to me that I thought I was going to make a career out of, and it turns out it didn't go that way. So, you know, shit happens, but no one teaches us about that. No one sits our little skinny ass down and says, okay, now this is what you do about men. No one does that. So if no one gives that instruction, why in the hell could you possibly have the audacity to be surprised when she comes home with some dumb ass that no one fucking wants to look at? You didn't teach her. You think I'm not going to sit my son down and say, okay, this is what you're going to do about women. Look, this is what's going to happen. This is the shit they do. You know, you're beautiful. So everybody's going to notice you, and this is how you need to handle it. You think I'm not going to have that conversation with him when he's 14? He's more beautiful than I could ever dream of being. You think I'm not going to teach him everything I know? Get the fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. Of course I'm going to. I'm writing shit down. I have a book underneath this desk thing. I have a book in one of these drawers, and I don't know what to call it, but I'm writing down things and lessons I've learned from life, you know, and just hard times I've been in where I had to like do shit, you know, and learn things, and I'm writing all that shit down. And when he's a little bit older, maybe like 12 or 13, I'll probably give it to him, let him read it, so he can just, you know, be a little bit more prepared than I was. And that's one of my goals with him. So you have to do that, because they're not gonna, you don't want them learning from strangers about how to live life. You want them to learn from you, good or bad. So that's important, and no one ever thinks of that. So, you know, I want to be able to do that. And but anyway, that's why, you know, I get pissed off when men will laugh at women. They laugh at us all the time anyway. I don't know what the goddamn fuck is so funny, but because they don't know what it's like from our point of view. They don't know what it's like to be at somebody's mercy every time you need help. You know, especially, well, when you need a man's help. You don't know what that's going to entail. You don't know what that's going to entail or what that's going to take. Because God help you if one friend of yours looks at it and says, oh, it just needs an oil change, and you take it down there to the place to get an oil change, and all of a sudden they're wanting $1,500 from you for all this other shit that no one told you about, that they've got you convinced it needs, they're going to do it. It's just shit like that. We can't even survive because they're trying to get everything they can from us, whether they've seen us before or not. So, you know, it's just shit like that. And we're always at somebody's mercy, you know, and just to survive, just to get by. And they don't have that problem. Dudes can just go to a job and follow the rules and get their paycheck and go home. And they don't even have to know anything. They could get a job as a fucking construction worker, not know a goddamn, and not even fucking speak English, and just because they can lift heavy shit, they've got a job and they make $1,200 a week. Women can't do that. We have to prove every fucking day that we're intelligent enough to handle the bullshit, rinky-dink shit that's thrown at us, that we're expected to turn into magic. And because they don't know what that's like, because they don't live in our shoes and live life from our point of view, they laugh at us when we tell them shit, or when we try to explain the way things are for us. They just laugh at us. Just like, why am I even fucking talking to you? And then all of a sudden, it's this. There's some news article out about, oh well, you know, there's so many lonely men. I reckon so. They mock us. You know, we're here to make humans. We make people. We're in the business of making people and bringing babies, and that's the greatest job that there is. I don't care who you are. And for us to get laughed at because the environment is so bad that we can't be feminine in safety and in a nourishing environment, we can't be our best because they're laughing at us. Man, fuck you. I'll just quit fucking. It's, you know, you think you're buying dolls now, bro. No. You know, and I don't hate men, but that's the fucking direction we're going in because we can't get along. And it's whatever. I've already got a kid. I'm fine. I'm square. That's it. One and done. It's squared away. So everything I work for and everything I earn and everything I accumulate in my life, money, assets, whatever, investments, whatever, it's all going to go to him. It's all going to be worthwhile. So I'm good. I'm satisfied. And one's better than like 2 or 3 or 5 because they're not going to be fighting over who's going to get what. It's just all going to one kid. So I'm happy. But nobody wants to look at, you know, they everybody feels sorry for men when they pick bad girlfriends. Oh, you know, he just doesn't know, you know, he just doesn't have the confidence. But any girl that has shitty ass boyfriend after shitty ass boyfriend, she's just a dumb bitch. You know, doesn't make any sense. And of course, I suppose it doesn't have to, you know, considering how fucking clouded everything is. Now everybody's opinions of everything is so damn clouded and full of shit. But that just needs to be said. And I don't think it's right, you know, for people to ignore the possibility of a backstory as to why somebody does what they do. You know, even and even for men, you know, because men that pick shitty girlfriends or pick shitty women, like I say, like the beta males, you know, who pick real domineering type women, you know, or aggressive women like me who don't listen, don't know how to listen, don't know how to follow orders, is what that means. But women like me who don't need or want anybody pushing them around, you know, I'm the man I need in my life. I am that person. I've had to be that person, and then it just kind of stuck. So I don't really go to anybody for refuge or anything like that. I'm the rock that I lean on. I'm the person I lean on, period. And the weak ones see that, and they like that because they're looking for a strong mommy figure, you know. And then I hear about the mothers, I'm like, damn, that sounds like me. And then I get it. They're looking to replace mommy all over again. It's the same fucking shit. It's the same shit over and over, you know. And I have had that where I've had them sit down in my lap and tell me how great I am and how great we are together, if I could just see it, and hear stories about their mothers and think, well, damn, you know, I understand her. And that's all they're doing is looking to replace their mom. So it's like, you know, you're not gonna like this. You're not gonna like this. So, but anyway, but no one asks about that and says, oh, well, you know, why are you doing that to yourself? Nobody says that to them. They just kind of pat them and say, oh, well, you know, we'll get you some. So it's not we're not treated the same when we both make the same mistake. And for this to be 2022, and, you know, we're still doing the caveman shit where, you know, women are just down there with the animals. That's ridiculous. And then you've got even European guys that come over here, they can't believe the shit they see. You ask them. You can ask them. Because they're very modern and forward-thinking and very egalitarian. And they don't have these problems in their country. You know, the United States, people don't realize this. Americans think we're real ahead and we're real whatever the fuck. But we're actually not. We're actually really behind, especially men and women, and the bullshit we have between us, and where we can't see eye to eye and refuse to understand each other. That's real. And how we're still laughing and sneering at each other. That's a very old-fashioned way of thinking. That's not modern at all. At all. We're very behind. And you know, especially, but I tell you, like I say, one of the things that has really helped us go downhill is people not keeping each other in check. They don't correct each other. Women don't correct each other when they do dumb shit. Everybody just kind of like minds their own business and keeps their head down, you know, and that is helping us crumble faster than anything else. Men don't correct each other. They don't even fight each other anymore. They don't. When was the last time you heard about a man getting in a fight with another man? Oh, it was about 10 years ago. I don't do any of that anymore. Okay, so you're not correcting anybody. So you're not standing up for yourself. There's got to be some point where just every now and then your life ought to be punctuated with correcting somebody. Yeah, you'll piss them off, but see, they don't. They're afraid of it. They're so afraid of each other, and they're so afraid of challenging somebody their own goddamn size, so they won't do it anymore. They don't challenge each other anymore. That I've been challenged a million times by men because they know they can break my neck. But that defeats the purpose of being a man. We all know you can break my neck. But the point is, you're not supposed to challenge me because that's an easy win for you. Everyone knows that. I know that. You know that. The point is that you're supposed to challenge somebody your own damn size. And then we'll see who wins. And that's it. So this shit about, yelling at strange women and shit like that, in public or whatever, and challenging us on the road and things like that, that doesn't make any sense. And it also shows how fucking pansy everybody is now. And it's going downhill to a point where I don't know what's going to happen. But, like I say, investigating somebody's background and looking at why they do what they do, it would be helpful no matter who you're dealing with. Yeah, and that's all I wanted to say about that. That's it. But, I'm going to leave the live up like I always do. I'll upload it and, leave it, and then I'll upload it also on YouTube, because it's always going to be there. I always keep my videos. So that was just something that I thought needed to be said, and it's important. And I even though I know I sound passionate about it, well, I am passionate about it, but I probably sound aggressive, and I probably sound kind of angry about it, and there is aggression and anger in there. I definitely do feel that way, but underneath that, what it's really coming from, that I guess doesn't show itself as well, is the desire, the extreme desire for compassion and understanding, like mutual understanding. I want men and women to understand each other, and I want them to know each other and to respect each other, but they can't respect each other if they don't get what they do, why they do what they do. So we have to be open-minded enough with each other to just listen. And just listen to each other and just find out why we do these things to ourselves and to others. And that really, that would really open up a whole new world of compassion and openness and more egalitarian, common sense kind of thing, instead of this caveman, me man, you woman type shit, where they're just dragging us away by the ponytail, because and then especially the crimes too, the domestic violence and the killings. Women die, half the time they die is because a man is killing them. The boyfriend's killing them, or the ex-boyfriend's killing them, or whatever. And the fact that this country still has that problem, because you go to other colonies, our other English-speaking neighbors, Canadians, Irish, Australians, New Zealand, everybody else, you go to those places, and those guys they don't do that as much. They don't kill their women as much out there. They're just not as aggressive, and at least not to my knowledge. But American men just have a rough streak, and they are struggling so much with whatever they're struggling with, to the point where they would rather just kill us off than just leave us alone. And I just don't know what it's going to take to change that, because this is 2022, and women are still disappearing, and teenage girls are still disappearing because men are just selling them or whatever, or chopping them up. And I don't know what it's going to take to change that. But, they can't control the feminine divine, so they figure they'll just erase it. And that's not going to work. That's not going to be, that's not conducive to your survival. So anyway, but the masculine and feminine thing, we'll get into that another time, because that's a whole other can of shit we got to get into, but that's a whole other topic. But, to try to have, my message, I guess, tonight is just to try to have some compassion for people you don't understand, because you never know what their story is and why they're doing what they're doing, especially if it's like self-sabotage type shit. And they do the same shit over and over again. Like today, I heard a story about a lady who was like, got kicked out of her house, and she was sort of a hoarder, and like had a bunch of dead cats in there, and she's always on Facebook like begging people to come and help her and shit like that, and like making a big show of it or whatever. And a lot of people will be like, oh, that's nasty, and avoid her. But in my mind, I thought, if we could just take a moment to sit down with her and just say, what's going on in your head? and just ask the right questions and get down to the bottom of it. That would explain why she does the shit she does. Keeps dead cats around. It would explain some things, but nobody wants to investigate. Nobody wants to investigate anybody's pain. Why? So that's my message tonight. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. So I hope that puts things in perspective, or at least gets people thinking about shit, because that needs to be thought about and needs to be mentioned. But anyway, I just want to say thanks to everybody who listened, and everybody who's by my side, through all this shit, all these changes in the world, and especially in this country, and all the changes that need to be made. Not so much politically. I don't talk so much about that, but just our culture and our way of doing things is outdated. And I'm no feminazi. I don't want men running around on their hands and knees and choke collars. That's not what I want. But I want to see a bit more egalitarianism and a bit more equal treatment. And that doesn't mean mocking each other because men can't have babies or women can't lift heavy stuff. This isn't a pissing competition, and it shouldn't be. We shouldn't be competing and measuring each other up over shit that we know the other one can't do. It makes no sense. So that's got to stop. And I think we need to put our weapons down and just sit down and talk. And that's what I wish we could do. So I'm going to leave it at that. It's been a long day. It's been a busy, productive day, and I'm tired. So this might be the last video for tonight. I don't know. I might make another video. I've kind of been thinking about something else, but that's it for now. And I hope that got some people thinking, and hope that I put things in perspective about my position on things, and people. And just get out there and do your best. We're all doing our best. So thanks for being good listeners and sticking with me through the whole thing. And that's it. So I'll leave you with that. Have a good night.